The studio sinks into thick darkness, like a black box holding a nation's secrets. No familiar music, no opening laughter, only silence, heavy as an oath. Then from that darkness, a blazing red halo cracks across the giant screen. Weaponization of justice. The letters, like molten metal, drip onto the black, leaving bright scars like cuts. A rapid, knife-sharp montage. An FBI nameplate under a slate-gray sky. A photograph of a federal courthouse. Hearing footage paused, mid-oath hands raised before Congress. Then flashing close-ups of headlines: perjury, obstruction, indictment. Camera shutters fire in bursts, like the gavel of justice hammering on the table of the Times. The screen flips to an icy blue palette. One massive word floods the frame: dirty cop. The phrase kicks and writhes like a movie villain. But this isn't Hollywood. This is Washington. And the name wearing the label isn't a street crook, it's a former FBI director. The deep state steps from shadow to spotlight. Is there or isn't there a network of officials quietly opposing a president? And is that president now hinting at repaying them with what he calls justice? A low drone descends, like an aircraft engine entering turbulence. On the screen, 4 words appear, cold and sharp: revenge or justice. The question sits between 2 icons, a tilted scale and a presidential seal slamming onto paper. Each time the seal comes down, revenge trembles. Each time the scale quivers, justice flares. The border between the two blurs like breath before a storm. The stage's edge lights snap on. Behind a gleaming wooden desk, Jimmy Fallon appears, but without a smile. His eyes lock on the lens, as if addressing an invisible jury spread across the nation. No jokes, no banter, just a single sigh, loud enough for the room to hear. "Ladies and gentlemen," he begins, his voice tolling like a midnight church bell. "Tonight, we step into a gray zone, where accusations turn into hashtags, where justice is named like a weapon, and where the simplest question becomes the most dangerous: revenge or justice?" A beat. The rear screen softens, then sharpens into a war room diagram. Phones ringing, confidential files slashed through, red arrows running between names. At the center, one burns bright: Donald J. Trump. At the bottom, a line like a reminder: 8 years allegations of weaponizing justice. Beside it, a counterweight: today, a promise to restore justice. Jimmy doesn't turn. He lets the images speak. Then he taps a fingertip on the desk. One dry click, like the whistle that opens a hearing. "And tonight," he says, "we ask a question that feels old, but has never been more urgent. When a president uses power to investigate opponents, is that defending the rule of law or setting a precedent that could crack a democracy?" A ripple crosses the room. Jimmy draws breath. The camera's repositioning is audible. "Please welcome Donald Trump." The lights narrow into a drilling cone, boring into center stage. From here, the frontier between justice and revenge is a razor's edge, and the audience will be the first to hear: steel meet steel. The Tonight Show studio no longer glows with its usual warm gold. Tonight, the lighting design has shifted entirely. A cold wash of blue-white paints faces into half-lit statues. It doesn't feel like late-night entertainment. It feels like an open hearing, every eye pinned to the stage, waiting for evidence to be presented, waiting for witnesses to be called. Even Fallon's familiar wooden desk looks different. No cheeky beer mug, no game cards. The camera glides slowly, so viewers can see clearly. A stack of red-jacketed files. The word "classified" peeking from a crossed-out corner. A small gavel, judge's gavel, unmistakable, set slightly askew. A quiet signal that tonight, Fallon is not only host, but an accidental prosecutor. The seats are packed, but no one looks relaxed. Some sit with arms crossed, faces taut. Others lean forward, eyes hungry, as if expecting a detonation, not a variety segment. The air is viscous. Every breath is audible. The camera sweeps past tight brows, pressed lips, even a few faces plainly anxious. The music, if it can be called that, is a heavy bass thud, like a giant heartbeat. Each thump triggers a flicker of light, throwing Fallon's shadow long and warped across the backdrop like a noir prosecutor. Suddenly the light shrinks to a circle dead center. The wings part. Whispers ripple like static. He's here. The camera shivers on a sudden zoom. And then, in a cresting murmur, Donald J. Trump steps out. He wears a navy suit, the signature blazing red tie, walking slow but weighty, as if each step embosses the wood. The trademark smile blooms confident, challenging. Half the room leaps up cheering as if at a rally. The other half sits stony still. A few whistles slash the air, with a distant chant of, "Lock him up!" Jimmy rises, extends a hand. The handshake lands under hot lights. The camera tight. Fallon's smile is strained. Trump squeezes hard, lingering, as if to prove that even as a guest, he controls the room. They sit. One final bass strike, then dead silence. The only sound is the click of a mic coming live, the signal that the conversation has begun. Tonight, The Tonight Show isn't a show. It's a battlefield, where every question can be a bullet and every answer a cut across democracy's skin. Jimmy draws a long breath, trying to recover his usual tone light with a flicker of humor. He smiles, glancing to the audience as if to say, "This is still the Tonight Show you love." But everyone knows the air has changed. "Welcome to the program, Mr. Donald Trump." Fallon begins, his voice slightly shaky but neatly disguised. "I have to say, I've never seen my audience this split, half shouting, half grinding their teeth. Only you could pull that off." The room laughs, half nervous, half relieved. Applause overlaps a few jeers. Trump dips his head, waves to the crowd, grinning wide, then turns to Fallon. "Jimmy, you know I always bring the biggest attention. People love me, whether they love or hate me. But remember, they're watching me. No one else gets that." Fallon chuckles, nodding. Right. I'll admit it. I book Taylor Swift, I book Beyoncé, but only when you walk out do I see the audience standing and sitting at the same time. It's like political cardio. Laughter breaks loose. Tension releases a notch. Trump nods, laughing big, clapping along. Fallon seizes the opening. "But look, you're here in a week when America is talking about one thing: the indictment of James Comey, the arguments over justice, and the buzzwords deep state, dirty cop, weaponization of justice. Honestly, my viewers are confused. They don't know if this is Hollywood, a miniseries, or just a late-night talk show." The laugh is shorter now, caught in the throat. Trump leans back, arms crossed, eyes glittering with appetite. "Jimmy, I'll be straight," he says, low but firm. "It's not a movie. It's real life. And real life is more dramatic than film. The crowd out there says I exposed the deep state. I call James Comey a dirty cop. They hate me because I tell the truth. But look, turns out I was right all along." A churn sweeps the room. Some roar approval. Others whistle down. Fallon signals for calm, then smiles, thin and wry. "Mr. President, tonight we'll try to parse what right means and what justice means. But first, a simple question." The smile fades. His eyes lock on Trump. Silence regains the hall. The covert hearing under the skin of a talk show has truly begun. Jimmy sits straight, fingers interlaced on the desk, no trace of the gag-loving host. He leans forward, eyes fixed on his guest. The air is so dense even a soft cough booms. "Mr. Trump," Fallon says, voice low but crisp, "Americans have heard you repeat one claim for 8 years, that Democrats weaponized the FBI and the Department of Justice to target you. And now, with former FBI Director James Comey indicted, you don't call it revenge, you call it justice." He pauses. The camera cuts to Trump, His face brightens, a corner smile, as if he has waited for this cue. Fallon continues, slow, but surgical. My question is, how thin is the line between justice and political revenge? When a president uses power to investigate opponents, is that justice or a dangerous precedent for American democracy? The audience erupts. Murmurs ripple everywhere. Some nod. A few, "That's right," shout from the dark. But whistles and boos lash back. The studio isn't a talk show crowd anymore. It's a miniature political arena. Trump doesn't rush. He settles into the chair, arms crossed, letting his gaze roam as if to pull the room into his orbit. Then returns, voice certain. "Jimmy, good question. But here's the thing. Revenge is when you do something wrong, and I come after you just because I hate you. Justice is when you actually commit crimes and face consequences." James Comey lied. He's a dirty cop. When a dirty cop abuses power, it's not revenge. It's the law doing its job. Half the room explodes in cheers. The other half boos hard. The camera finds faces split cleanly division, under the lights mirroring the nation outside. Fallon leans in, fingers tapping the desk with a chilly rhythm. A thin smile ghosts his lips, but his eyes are blades. You call it justice. Many will ask, justice for whom? And who decides who's dirty and who's clean? If that power sits in a president's hands, any president's, are we witnessing justice or rebranding revenge? The room seizes up. The question lands like a slug. No one can pretend this is mere entertainment. Trump leans forward now, smile wider, but eyes colder. He sets both hands on the desk, drumming each finger, as if beating time to command the air. "Jimmy," his voice booms, "I put up with it for 8 years. 8 years of fake investigations, reports with nothing, witch hunts one after another. They used the FBI, the DOJ, everything to take me down. Now the truth's out, and you call it revenge? No. I'm restoring justice to America." The crowd surges. A block rises, chanting, "USA! USA!" The opposite side fires back with boos like sleet. Tiny flags wave, fists clench. Fallon waits for the storm to ebb, then lowers his voice to retake the ground. "I understand the argument. But remember, when a president calls a former FBI director a dirty cop, he's not just tearing down one man. He's planting a message that our justice system can't be trusted. Is it dangerous when faith in law is replaced by political slogans?" Trump leans back and laughs. Loud, defiant. "Dangerous. Dangerous is letting guys like Comey sit in power, lie to Congress, destroy public trust. I didn't create doubt. I exposed truth. If people call it the deep state, then yes, it's the deep state. A clique of dirty officials quietly resisting the president, the people elected." His words hit like a gavel. Half the room roars again. The other half flares hotter. A woman shouts, "That's a lie!" her voice swallowed by the surge. Fallon folds his arms, eyes narrowed, smile thin as a blade. "You say you're exposing truth, not sowing doubt. But if the truth comes from your administration, from loyalists who can swear it's objective, or is it just another weaponization of justice in reverse?" The audience holds its breath. The divide now feels etched into the stage itself. Trump's smile chills. He doesn't retreat. He prepares to strike back. Tension ratchets. Words become tinder. There's no way back. Trump leans in, voice rising to drown the murmurs. "You talk about weaponizing justice the other way? Remember, I was the first victim. Russia, Ukraine, taxes, they invented everything. All ended with nothing. I survived every witch hunt. And now, when they're exposed, you call me vengeful? No, Jimmy. I'm the only one brave enough to drain the swamp." Half the room springs up, chanting, "Trump! Trump! Trump!" Stomps drum the floor. The other half explodes in counter shouts. The air cyclones, splitting the room into camps. Jimmy raises a hand, not to soothe, but to hold the tension. His voice drops, edged like a knife. You drain the swamp. But be honest, Mr. Trump. When a president brands a former FBI director dirty cop, when he seeds into millions of minds, the idea that a secret deep state is against him, are you protecting faith in justice? Or breaking it to serve your own narrative? The camera tightens. Trump sits rigid, eyes ablaze. He jabs a finger toward Fallon. Jimmy, it's people like you who wreck trust. You call truth hate. You call justice revenge. I'll be clear. This isn't revenge. It's a warning to anyone who abuses power against the people and the president they chose. I'm not retaliating. I'm protecting America. The studio detonates again. Stadium cheers versus a storm of boos. Polarization peaks. Fallon doesn't yield the floor. He taps the desk, leans closer, voice biting. Protecting America, or protecting your political ego. You say this isn't revenge. Then why at every rally, in every post, do you name enemies, demonize them, and teach the crowd that justice arrives only when they're crushed? Are you sure that's protection, Mr. Trump? Or are you turning justice into your personal weapon? Applause cracks like thunder, paired with vicious whistles. The camera cuts to Trump, eyes blazing, face flushed by anger and thrill. He's ready to fire. The air is powder thick. An accusation has been leveled. Now the question. Will Trump dodge or detonate? Trump reclines slightly, arms folded, eyes narrowed like a predator coiling. Breathless silence hangs. Then he laughs, long, rough, and bitter through the mic. Jimmy, he says, slow and hot, you just proved my point. You and people like you, the media, the elites turn everything I do into a crime. Call every truth I reveal revenge. When the other side does it, it's justice. You know what that is? A double standard, two systems of law. Noise surges again. One half cries, exactly. The other, not true. Faces glint with conviction or burn with rage. Trump keeps pounding, each line like a hammer. For 8 years, they used the FBI, the DOJ, every tool to destroy me. They called it defending democracy. Now when I say James Comey, who lied to Congress, who leaked documents must be held accountable, they call me vindictive. What are they afraid of? They're afraid I'll succeed in bringing back real justice. Applause drums the floor. On the left, a group yells, "You're the one destroying justice!" The din devours the words. Fallon waits, eyes icy. Trump barrels on, slapping his palm on his table, voice erupting. Look at the so-called deep state. I named it on day one. They called me paranoid. Today, Comey is indicted. So who was right? Who invented stories and who told the truth? They say I shattered faith in justice. The truth is I showed Americans this. Washington's justice has never been fair. Lust routed his date. Cheers crest. Burying the jeers. Trump points, sweeping the room like issuing orders. And I'm telling you, Jimmy, and all of America, this isn't revenge. This is justice. And if I have to face down the entire elite to get it, I will. Because Americans deserve real justice, not the counterfeit version in the hands of the powerful. The room blows open again. Half stands roaring, half boos at ear-split pitch. The camera returns to Fallon rigid, eyes hard. Trump has flipped the board. From accused avenger, he's cast himself as champion of justice. The turning point has arrived. There's no break left. The hall boils like a pressure vessel. Justice, justice battles. Shame, shame. Faces flare under cold light. The place resembles a Roman arena waiting for blood. Jimmy holds still. He taps the desk, the dry knocks cutting the noise. He leans toward Trump, voice honed. Mr. Trump, he says, you call this justice. But million supporters and opponents alike are asking, if justice only arrives when it serves one man, is it justice at all? The stone drops. Silence pools. Before Trump replies, Fallon presses on, voice dipping as if indicting not one guest but a nation. You say Comey is a dirty cop. You say deep state. Be honest. When you stand at a podium and point at your opponents, call them guilty as hell. When you fire prosecutors for refusing to bend, how is that different from wielding power for revenge? How is it different from what you've condemned for 8 years? A long ooh rolls across the audience, Fallon's cleanest cut. The camera sweeps, some nodding, others gripping armrests. Faces flushed. Trump squints. But Fallon's not done. He palms the desk, thud, each word a falling gavel. So answer me. Right now. Right here. Before millions watching. Are you pursuing justice? Or rewriting the rules to turn the White House into your personal battleground? The room erupts. Applause and boos converge into a storm. The camera catches Trump silent for a beat, hands clenched, eyes bright with fury and the old pride. He leans into the mic, lips lifting into a half smile, and answers slowly. Jimmy, you want the answer? You and the millions out there? Then listen closely. I never take revenge. I deliver justice. And sometimes, justice looks like revenge, because it finally makes the bad guys pay. Half the room leaps up, thunder in their throats. The other half screams, "That is revenge." The chaos peaks. The camera trembles, catching faces lit by conflict. This is not a talk show. It's a public tribunal. And Jimmy Fallon has pushed Donald Trump to the summit of a showdown where justice and revenge are divided by a single red thread. As soon as Trump says, "Sometimes justice looks like revenge," the studio detonates into an ungovernable storm. Ovations slam against piercing jeers, turning the hall into a live fault line. The camera sweeps rows, one half chanting, "Justice, justice," the other, "Dictator, dictator." Polarization, smoldering all night, pours out like lava. Jimmy fights for tempo. He raises his hand, voice pitched over the roar. "Please, folks, please keep order. This isn't an election. It's a conversation." The plea is hopeless. Red-shirted MAGA fans punch the air, chanting for Trump. Across the aisle, young people hoist "No one above the law." Security moves to head off clashes. Back at the desk, Fallon leans back, sips water, eyes still locked on Trump. Trump sits upright, eyes gleaming, wearing the satisfied look of a man who's tossed a political bomb and is savoring the aftershock. Minutes later, the shockwave escapes the room. On Twitter, number "Justice or Revenge" rockets to has shown trending. Clips of Trump's line, "Justice sometimes looks like revenge," are shared thousands of times within 10 minutes. A conservative account posts, "Trump just redefined justice for America. Historic moment." An opposing account fires back, "Don't be fooled. He just admitted he'll weaponize justice for political payback." On TikTok, remixes roll in. Trump's line set to The Godfather or Judge Judy. The internet laughs and shivers. CNN runs a breaking chyron. Trump, justice or revenge? Tonight Show ignites into political battleground. Fox News scrolls, "Trump, it's justice, not revenge." MSNBC is harsher. "A public admission rattles democracy." Politicians pile in. Some Republicans hail Trump for saying the truth the media won't. Democrats condemn an open confession that justice will be a weapon. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweets, "If justice tilts into revenge, democracy collapses." Her post pulls in millions of interactions, and the public viewers at home becomes the real tidal wave. The Tonight Show's YouTube comments flood with hundreds of thousands of polarized takes. Fallon asked the question the whole country needed. Trump told the truth. Justice was weaponized long ago by Democrats, and he planned on marker. This isn't late night, this is broadcast history. Bars, dorms, dinner tables ignite with arguments. Justice or revenge becomes the burning prompt, cleaving friends, colleagues, even families. A late-night episode. A question at democracy's root. And in the morning, America wakes to not just a scandal, but a new crack deeper, harder to mend. The screen dims, but Jimmy Fallon remains at his wooden desk. No dazzling lights, no cheers, just rare calm after a storm. He lifts his gaze to the camera, eyes bright in the cold wash. "Ladies and gentlemen," Fallon says slowly, "we've heard all the justifications, all the accusations, all the explanations. But the real question isn't here on this stage. It's with you." He taps the desk, punctuating each word. Justice or revenge? Tonight wasn't just a talk show. We were in a public tribunal where justice was put on the slab, and the people are the jury. The camera glides across tight faces, some nodding, some furrowed, all silent, as if listening to the question echo inside. Fallon leans in, voice soft but cutting. "So I want to hear from you. Leave your thoughts under this video, on forums, at the dinner table, anywhere you can. Say it plainly. Do you see justice being done, or revenge dressed in legal robes?" He pauses, eyes fixed on the lens, as if staring through the screen at each viewer. Don't stay silent. In a democracy, silence is an answer too. A solemn score swells. The camera slowly pulls back. Fallon still, hands clasped, unblinking. The screen fades to black, and a white line appears. Justice or revenge? The verdict belongs to you. Then everything cuts. And if you don't want to miss showdowns like this, remember to like, share, and drop a comment with your take. Follow the Hot Topic Talk channel, where each episode isn't just entertainment, but a raw slice of political history unfolding before our eyes.